So today we are going to see the small small topics uh, which will be asked as a short note, and that is from module number 5. Short note means it will be either for 4 marks or 5 marks, but most probably it will be for the 5 marks. So it is the topics are like special purpose machines, then general purpose machine GPM, then induction hardening, centerless grinding, thread rolling, then in process gauging, multi process gauging, then what is ERP, then computer aided process planning. So these are all, then transfer line, mass production techniques. So these are all small topics uh, which process engineering, which you have already studied in manufacturing engineering, mm, or in manufacturing processes, and which you are supposed to know as a process engineer. You are supposed to know all this. So let us study one by one. So let us start with the ERP, and the ERP stands for Enterprise, Resource Planning. So the content of ERP, this software is what is ERP, then what were the softwares which were used earlier, and why companies they undertake ERP, what will be the approximate cost of the ERP, how companies organize their ERP projects, then what will be the benefits. Mm, at least these points are necessary, because whatever we are going to discuss hereafter, that will be for 4 marks or 5 marks. Like suppose if it is ERP is asked, then it will be for 4 marks. Uh, or if it is maximum 5 marks, or if it is CAPP, that is computer aided process planning, then it will be for 5 marks. That will be as per new pattern. It will be question number two. As per new pattern, it will be question number two, which is generally short note, and question number three is long answer. So if you are talking about process engineering and tooling, then question number two will be all short note kind of things, and question number three will be 10 marks. Question number three will be 10 marks. All right. Neeraj, the screen is visible and I am audible also, no? Hmm. Otherwise, I'll just go on
Yes, sir.
speaking.
Yes.
Yeah. So, enterprise resource planning. hmm, So basically, it is integration of all the departments in ERP. So it integrates all departments. See, whatever this presentation I am providing or uploading, that will be sufficient for your 5 mark question. A 1 page or 1.5 page answer is sufficient with the diagram. So it integrates all the departments and functions. All the departments means like your marketing, then your planning, your purchase, and production, inspection, then dispatch, delivery and dispatch, and servicing. mm, all the departments it integrates and functions to create a single software program that runs off one database. So it creates a database which is very important. So you just write a code and you will get all the details about that component. That is just to give ID. And then when it was manufactured, what was the raw material for that, who had supplied, when it had supplied, through what stages of manufacturing it has gone, when it was dispatched, everything, all the details will come. And this is ERP is also, integrated with integrated IPMS, that is integrated production management system. Sometimes ERP is also called as IPMS, that is integrated production management system. So IPMS, it has all the scanners, then it has SCADA, uh, and it has host computers, then it has servers. So everything is recorded in integrated production management system when manufacturing is going on a particular machines or on a particular assembly line. So there is no need of supervision like earlier days. You don't have to stand with the cane behind the workers. You can sit in your cabin, means manager can sit in his cabin and he can watch all the activities going on, all the movements of the peoples, of the workers, and that this is possible now, isn't it? Like suppose if we have a company at Nasik, or maybe even out of India also, and you have networking system, you have installed your CCTV, and then on the mobile you can get what is going on. You can see sitting at your office here in Mumbai, you can see what is going on in your factory which is located at say USA or um, anywhere, isn't it? Not only this, you can watch, but you can control also. Like suppose if you want to switch on, suppose if it is an automatic plant, then you can control your plant also, sitting at a desk and sitting remotely. So that is also possible, right? So basically, it is we are in ERP and in IPMS. We are integrating, and it uh, insists on automation or automated control. Fine. So earlier used software were ERM, that is Enterprise Resource Management. Mm. Then material requirements planning, that is MRP. In MRP again you had MRP 1 and MRP 2, that is MRP material requirement planning 1. It concerns about raw material requirement, that is when to procure the raw material, when to procure the raw material, which is based on your delivery schedule. Like suppose if your delivery schedule is after say 30 days, and you have to work out the different lead time means what is the time required to procure the material, what is the time required to machine or manufacture, what is the time required and testing, and accordingly you work backdate it and place the order. That is what is your MRP1. That is like suppose if you have unit test 2 on say um, 24th, or say on 28th, isn't it? Or if it is starting from say 24th, then how long you need to study, isn't it? So you work backdated, isn't it? So 20th 20 you can start your studies. Then when your notes should be ready, or when your book should be ready, so that again you work out, that is how much time is required to procure the books, to get the books online, like that. So MRP1 is nothing but material requirement planning, and it is basically concerned with BOQ, that is bill of quantity, when to procure the material. Because here uh, we insist that inventory should be zero. We work on just in time inventory, that is JIT. That is, we don't have to keep the inventory. See, if you allow plenty of inventory, then absolutely this MRP1 or MRP2 is not required. You just go on procuring the material and go on stacking the material in the factory. But since we believe in JIT, that is just in time, you have to be very particular about the material what you are going to procure. You don't have to pile up the inventory. The principle is JIT. Then MRP2 again is concerned with integration of the various departments, and in which MRP2 may we integrate the departments like costing and finance also. So these were earlier softwares. So you had separate software ARM, you had separate software MRP1, MRP2. So is nothing but all these are integrated in one software only, that is enterprise resources planning. So enterprise is nothing but a company or organization. Resources means what are the facilities you have. So that includes your machines, includes your people. That is we say 4M. That is we say man, machines, materials, and methods. Of course, you need man, you need materials, you need machines. Machines means um, all kind of resources. So, like suppose if you have machine shop, then machine. But if you don't have machine shop, if it is painting shop, then your painting facilities. If you are service industries, then it will be only man. So that is what your resources means. Resources is nothing but, in short, it is nothing but facilities, right? Then uh, in order to integrate all the finance costing financial data, then to standardize the manufacturing process and to standardize your HR information means basically your workers means right from the helpers, to the semi-skilled people, skilled people, high skilled people, your staff, that is your supervisor, your manager, the general manager, your um, general manager के ऊपर then you have president, vice president, everything. That is what is your HR information is. So cost of the ERP is definitely it is costly. So hardware, software, then all professional services, internal staff services. So it goes into lakhs and lakhs. Sometimes it touches crore also. And that's why many companies they go for a particular module. Some of the modules, that is some people's they only take your purchase module, some people they take only manufacturing module or planning module. So that module is economical, or we say cheaper, because my main I am a small scale company. I am not like say MNC. So my uh, major thrust is manufacturing. So I will go for manufacturing module. Hmm. Even the learning of ERP, all the modules, learning of modules and getting a knack of that itself takes around 1 year. So it is so vast. So there are three ways of organizing ERP: Big Bang, then franchising strategy, and slam dunk. Okay, you don't have to study in detail. Hmm. So in Big Bang, the most ambitious and difficult approaches. Hmm. So they cast off all the legacy at once and implement a single ERP system across the entire company. So here everyone has to cooperate, accept a new software system. So there are tremendous challenges. They say it takes 1 year of training or to get acquainted. And you always remember there is always resistance to the change. The resistance, that is this softwares also, computerization also. There was a resistance when Rajiv Gandhi introduced in 1991. You may not have born that time. So there was a very resistance, especially from the government staff organizations, especially from the seniors. That we will not be able to learn why it is required. There will be unemployment, but nothing has happened. Hmm. So everybody has to cooperate, everybody has to learn, everybody has to accept the new changes. Then franchising strategy, it's suits to large or diverse companies that don't share many common processes. So independent ERP systems are installed in each unit. Like as I said earlier, like say there are say 4 to 5, small companies or medium companies. So one is only offering services, so he will take that module. One is only doing inspection. There are people like who would offers third party inspection, like say BUQA, or boiler inspection peoples. They are only third party inspection. Their work is only third party. Like even Father Agner, we also have third party inspection. Specialities like. I don't know whether you are aware that is those who are going abroad, at the technicians. So we have trade center, test center. So where we test the candidates, those who are going abroad, that is we take the test of welders, we take the test of electricians, take the test of fitter, and we give certificates. We are popular. People's believes in this. So the recruiters or the companies, they will send their candidates. They will send the candidates and they will finally send it to us, and they will ask the certifications uh, about the skills. Similarly we have, so that is a kind of inspection, isn't it? So I will take only ERP which is having inspection module. Then we have test center meter testing department, so wherein we test and certify the meters which are used in taxis, rickshaws. So we are also known, and we have uh, that kind of expertise to certify this meter testing, or to certify the candidates. So that is what is your franchising strategist. So instead of taking for entire ERP, we go for some modules. And Slam Dunk is nothing but it is very tailor made for small companies. Like small scale companies even cannot afford the particular modules. Like as I said that ERP, complete ERP, it may cost around say 1 crore, and modules also will cost around 5 6 lakhs, 5 6 lakhs. So uh, this for the small companies, even this also sounds difficult. So for them, some tailor-made software. So that is as per their requirement, they will write programs. So suppose I am a small scale manufacturer, so I will approach and they will do the coding as per my requirement. So which comes in 1 or 2 lakhs. So that is much more economical. Sometimes I may hire also some programmer, and I'll hire his services for 2 3 months, and he will write program for me. So that is also possible. So that comes out to be economical. So this is what is your slam dunk approach is. So ERP systems, earlier, as I told, that it was MRP1 and MRP2. MRP1 basically focuses on your raw material. MRP2 is integrates again most of the departments of the companies. Then you have many benefits of the ERP system. Since it is the weightage is 4 marks only, so I am giving not much time. So this is what is you have to explain what is ERP, what are the different approaches, what are the advantages of ERP systems, like that. Then benefits includes you have information at your fingertip, 24 by 7. You get no need to open the door and uh, give the information, because it is all computerized. uh, and most of the times the systems are always on 24 by 7. Another that it integrates all the systems means your planning system, your production system, your purchase system, your service. Then it has high computational power, like decision making. Like suppose if you ask that is what is the expected date of delivery, you know so based on the current state, so immediately it will calculate for you. Like suppose you have to dispatch say 5 gearboxes, 5 gearboxes for a particular customer. So you will ask what is the expected delivery time. So it will immediately work that this particular gearbox. So what are the different components which are going into this gearbox, and what is the status of that computers or status of that component like the gearbox. So what will be the different components? The basic component is gearbox housing, which is cast and machine. Then it will have so it will check whether the gearbox, like 10 gearboxes you have to dispatch. So it will check whether the 10 gearbox housings are ready or not. It has been material has come, whether it has been machined. Uh, the various surfaces has been machined, the bores has been done or not, that it will check. Then in the gearbox, definitely there will be minimum two shafts going. One will be input shaft and another will be output shaft. So it will check whether the shaft material has come or not, where it is, what is its status, whether it has been turned, hardened, ground. Then definitely there will be gears. I'm just telling you basic components, and all this, like housing you have, then you have shafts, then you have gears. It will check for the gears. What is the status of that particular gears, whether gears are ready, hardened, ground, hob. Then definitely there will be bearings, because the gearbox housing will have you know from one side two openings for input and output shaft, other side again two openings. So in that definitely the bearings will be mounted, and in the bearings your shaft will rotate. So it will check for the bearings, whether the bearings has come or not. Then whether the components are getting assembled or not, where what is the status, whether, then what about the gearbox oil. So everything it will check, all the components. So huge database is required. So imagine, that's why it is not uh, it is not very small thing. So huge database is required. And then based on this, availability and status, manufacturing status, it will give the date of delivery. Only thing is that it will assume that everything goes well, because that uncertainty, manufacturing may uncertainties, it will not be able to take that probability, probability, like machine breakdown hai, because it will take everything, it will assume that everything is fine, the peoples are available, then machines are available, then material is available, inventory is available, all the components which are procured, they are made to the quality. All these assumptions will be done, but practically it doesn't happen like that, no, because practically the staff 100% attendance will not be there, correct? 90%. In case of festivals, attendance will drop down to 50%. So this is what is called as the uncertainty. Then machines will go breakdown, isn't it? We don't know when the machines will fail. Hmm. Then sometimes the raw material which has been received, that is not up to the mark. That is, you're taken it for assembly, and you understand that it is not correct. That is, threads are not correct, or the sizes are not proper, or sometimes the material itself which is supplied is wrong. That may also happen. Instead of coffee you have received tea powder. So like these things also happen, or sometimes the quantity is also less. Like I need say 4 bearings in a gearbox, like that say 10 gearbox, so 40 bearings I should have for assembly, but instead of 40 I have only say 30 bearings. So these are all unforeseen circumstances and randomness, so that it doesn't considers that. But nowadays ERP systems are softwares are built that it also considers these probabilities, like what is the probability of absenteeism, what is the probability of that's why probability of breakdown. That's why it takes time, and that's why this ERP softwares are very expensive. See, it's not a joke. Again, suppose if I want to model this and if I want to consider the probability of breakdown, then I have to, my software should consider what kind of probability it is, what kind of distribution it will follow. In statistics you all learn various kinds of distribution, like normal distribution, distributions, triangular distribution, rectangular distribution. So you have to confirm that suppose if my machines break down, it conforms to which kind of distribution, whether it conforms to normal distribution, whether it conforms to Weibull distribution, Poisson distribution, all this distribution has to be incorporated in your software also. That's not a joke. If I want to you know incorporate triangular distribution, then in triangular distribution how it is minimum, then maximum, and most likely. So all these parameters has to be set in the software, and all these parameters you have to give also. So that's why there's a lot of hard work, and it's a multidisciplinary development, this software, and it is very expensive. But then the advantages or benefits are at just a fingertip. That is, you just click it and then you get the information. So it gives you information all the while, 24/7. Then system integration, and as I told, computational power. So ERP2 is nothing but it also considers your finance, then costing, and it has ability to connect different varieties of the systems, uh, like different products, or we say a particular company has say many sister concerns, like say you are a manufacturer and you may have say 4 to 5 different manufacturing, or 4 to 5 different organization, like you have a family and you have set up one as a consultancy company, one as a auto ancillary, one as a one for constructions, then one as a architecture. Difference usually entrepreneur, he doesn't uh, just believe in one setup, so he have 4 to 5 different different setups, so that if there is a slack in uh, one setup, at least other are running fine. So ERP2 integrates all these different systems, even though the product is different. Hmm. So SAP is software. SAP is a software. It's a brand. Uh, and that is the most popular software which is used for ERP. See, remember, ERP is a kind of a process, enterprise resource planning. It's kind of a process, and SAP is a brand. SAP, like BAN, SAP is also a brand. So its full form is systems, applications, and products in data processing. So basically, it processes and links the data. Hmm. And it is what's most popular ERP software, and since beginning it is. So it has independent functional software module, as well as has a single enterprise system also. Independent functional means, as I have been telling, like your purchase, planning, you know, production, inspection. These are independent, software modules. So you can buy only single module also. Hmm. or they have single enterprise system also. Mm. So advanced business applications program is the programming language, uh, that's a platform for your SAP. Mm. So it's a powerful programming language designed to be both platform and database independent. Mm. So it will be responsible for the customization, modification, and general support of the SAP program. Mm. It has the features of other modern programming languages such as C, Visual Basics, Power Builder. Mm. As an engineer, no, you should have good knowledge of C. Mm. C is very versatile language, and it is also helpful also. Uh, so anything can be done. Mm. So I suggest you should get a good grip on C and one more language like Java, suppose if you know, or Python. Then nothing like this. So the functional three core areas are financial, human resources, and manufacturing. And then again in finance we have different departments. Human resources, again you have different departments, like one is only working for retirement, one is only working for incentives, one is working only for daily affairs, like that it is, and then manufacturing, very well. So while employing an ERP system, you have to see that it is expensive, but it in a real time or in a long run, it is very cost efficient, and you have to see whether you will get the returns or not. So, but you have to take precautions when you are going for ERP, because you have taken ERP, and if you don't have a trained manpower, uh, then it's a waste. Like you have, good machines, you have tools, but you don't have peoples to operate the machines or to operate the tools. Then that investment in those machines or investment in these tools is waste. And these are some references. So it was only for 4 marks, or I will say 5 marks. Then another uh, question which can be asked is turret layout or gear hobbing layout. That is, sketch and explain gear hobbing layout, or sketch and explains turret layout for manufacturing of the bolts. Gear hobbing definitely will be for manufacturing gears. So I'll just explain one by one. What is it? Again, it will be for 5 marks. The weightage will be for the 5 marks. So this particular layout is for the hobbing. So here you can note that there are three blanks, that is one, two, and three. Three gear blanks are mounted. Now these are not gear blanks. This already now teeth are cut. Okay. So and this many times the students they are not able to tell what is the how do you represent the gear teeth hmm, in engineering drawing. So this is how your gear teeth is represented. So in between two blanks, you have fitted, you have kept a washer. This is your gear hob cutter. Right? Then either you can do gear hobbing from top or you can do from down also. This is a mandrel. on which your gear blanks are resting. Then mandrel is mounted uh, in between center and this bolt and nut. This there is a threading, so it's kind of a bolt, and there's a nut here, and there's a washer which is used for clamping. So this is what is your gear hobbing layout is. Then there has to be a provision for rotating this mandrail. So this is the setup. That is, you have kind of two gears, one and one gear or dual gear, so that your mandrel will rotate. huh? So the mandrel goes inside the spindle of the machine. So this portion is the spindle of the gear hobbing machine. So in the hollow spindle, your mandrel goes and there is a taper provided in the spindle, and all the spindles they have taper. Then you have tool layout for trans bearing cage. So this is a turret of the turret lathe in which the different tools are mounted. So it's a hexagonal turret. So six tools are mounted here. Then you have this is your front tool post, and this is your rear tool post. So front tool post is usually square, and even rear tool post is also square. So you can mount your four tools, and on the rear side also you can mount four tools. So that means altogether you can mount 10 tools, and that's why you know turret lathes are also called as mass production lathes because 14 tools you can use. So it's kind of a CNC lathe only, hmm, or it's a kind of a vertical, machining center or horizontal machining center, hmm, where there is a provision of number of tools, hmm, except that it is not computerized. It is basically uh, it is automatic lathe, but it is mechanical. There are lots of cams and dogs and stoppers and limit switches. Everything mechanical are used. Like the first generation computer, it was like your uh, double decker bus. It was so huge, and all the computation, you may not believe, but all the computation was done mechanically. Absolutely, this I am talking about 1960s, where the electrical electronic devices were not invented. There were no, semiconductors like diode, triode. It was started with the walls, and I'm talking about before the walls. That is before your diode and triodes. So everything, all the competition was done mechanically. Mechanically means through the shaft, through the chains, through the sprockets, through the gears, through the bells, and that's why that computer was huge, almost like your double the size was your double decker bus. So same here, turret lathe also here it is totally mechanical, like your bar pulling, like a kind of a automat, exactly like your automat, but in difference is in automat you have vertical slide, two vertical slide, front and rear, which is not here. Then in automats you on turret you don't have hexagonal turret, whereas here you have hexagonal turret. Then automat may there is a front cross slide and rear cross slide, but only one tool is mounted. Here you can have four tools, and every tools comes one after other. Bar pulling, then there is a stopper. Okay, so all this Uh, this is taken from Hajar Chaudhary. Hmm. So you can refer there also. And uh, the tool indexing will happen automatically, and that is what is called as a Geneva mechanism. That indexing is done through Geneva mechanism. Then every, if you note, every station, they have shown the operation. Like here it is slightly blur. Here the boring is going on. So here again the boring is going on, then finish boring, then drilling. Like here now chamfering is going on. So this is a chamfering tool. Then this is your drilling. If you can see carefully, this is the drilling which is going on. So if it is asked for the 5 marks, then you have to at least show two tools here, hmm, and one tool here, and one tool here, and one simple component. Most of the students leave this because it is time consuming. That's why. Hmm. But no text is expected. Turret to layout means if you can explain 4 5 lines, that is sufficient. But this is a component, okay, and in this component, what are the different operations which are being done, and what are the tools, and where are those operations are being done. That is what is shown here. So looking at this, you understand, what kind of tools and what are the different operations which are done. So that was your hobbing and turret tool. So this is again gear hobbing layout. Same figure which I showed, only that was upside down. So here the direction is proper. Like this is a nut here, and this is a mandrel, and the hobbing is been done from the top. So the orientation or the direction was reversed in the earlier slide. Here it is proper. Again, if it is asked, it will be for the 5 marks. Again, this is drawn manually. This, okay. So I'll rotate for you. So this is how it will look like. Hmm. So this is your chuck in which your component is mounted. This particular layout is for the trans-bearing cage. So you have to show the component. You show one tool here, one tool here, and two tools on the turret. Okay, so now here the different tools are. Now this is, what is this tool? This tool is for locating. Like you are locating your component. So you are locating the bore. Okay, so this is called as the locator. Okay, so this is your supporting. This is your location and clamping. This symbol. All right. Then this tool is used for turning, this rough turning, maybe this tool is used for finish turning. Then this tool is for taper forming. All right. Then this tool is for the facing. So like that. And then you can show one tool for boring, rub boring, another tool for finish boring. Like here now, this is called as the combination boring bar. Combination boring bar. See, this is a component. This is a component, and this is a combination boring bar. What is happening in combination boring bar? This boring as well as this boring is happening simultaneously. This, both the bearings are happening simultaneously. So that's why it is called as the combination boring bar. Hmm. And this also I have shown turret. uh, So this is what is your trans-bearing cages, and this is your turret. You know, so one tool for the rub boring, another tool for the finish boring. Mm. So this also has been uploaded in notes. Then another useful uh, short note is your quiz planning. So in computer, again for the 5 marks. So in computer aided process planning, there are uh, two types. Basically, traditional process planning, and another is automated. Automated is nothing but computerized. Sometimes the students they are not able to tell the full form also. CAPP, that is computer aided process planning. That is process planning which is done with the help of the computers. In traditional process planning, the process planning is done by engineer, process engineer. So that process planning depends on the experience of the person, qualification of the person, his knowledge, isn't it? So the process plan will differ from person to person and it may not be unique, and you have to depend on the person, experienced person. If pressure is there, then the process plan will be different. So that's why we go for the computerized process planning. So your process plan will be unique. In computerized process plan, you have again two different types. That is, one is your retrieval type process planning, and another is your generative type process planning. One is your retrieval and another is generative. You don't have to worry much, because it is simple. Retrieval means you have, see, the most important is your group technology. Group technology means you are grouping the components, grouping the students height wise up to 5 feet, between 5 and 6 feet, above 6 feet. So, like that, you are grouping the components, circular component, then your prismatic, that is rectangular components. And retrieval में क्या है? There are already process plans which are stored in the computers, okay, and whenever a new drawing comes, then you have to retrieve the process plan, that process plan. If that process plan is not there, then you have to retrieve the similar process plan. Like suppose if you have a shaft, okay, and you have a process plan for the shaft having diameter say 50 and length 100. Now you have received another component uska diameter 45 hai and length is 90. So there is, you already have a similar process plan. You have to just retrieve it, make the changes, okay, and again save it and issue it. So this is what is called as the retrieval type. Retrieval plan means what? You already have either the same or the similar process plan, okay. But before this, you have to generate, isn't it? How it will have, because you, like suppose you have a database, but database you have to feed, isn't it? So like that, in order to retrieve, you should have that process plan, isn't it? So that process plan has to be generated, some that is called as the start, isn't it? So you have to start somewhere. So in generative process planning, you go on generating the process plan. So you go on making the database, isn't it? Like you have received this component, okay, so you start writing the process plan for that. You study the components, then you have a database of your machines, different machines. You have a database of your tools, cutting tools. You have database of your peoples. You have database of cutting speed, feeds, everything. So with the help of all this database, you are writing a process plan for that particular. Okay, this is what is called as the generative. Means you are generating from the scrap. Okay, and once you have generated that process plan, then it can be used. It is something like police station may they have a database of criminals, isn't it? So every new criminal which is added, they have to go on generating and they have to go on saving. So whenever next time suppose a criminal comes, what they first do, whether the similar criminal is there in their database or the history, they check it, isn't it? Like fingerprint, whether the similar fingerprints are there or not, they check it, yeah, in their database. And that is what is called as the retrieval process planning. And generative means initially you have to write the process plan, you have to generate that, okay. So that is what is called as the generative process planning system. And in the figure, then you have to draw this, for a retrieval. Like you have to enter the part code number. This is self explanatory. Part code number, number, then it goes, it searches, isn't it? So it searches whether the same component is there, or whether it belongs to some family. So there is a part family matrix file. All right. Then there is a machine routing file. uh, then there are standard machine, uh, machine routing retrieves. Then there are standard operation sheets, which are already there. So you have to go on retrieving this. So this is how your retrieval, process planning works. Okay. So it has part family matrix file, it has machine routing file, it has operation sequence file. So so much of database is there, and with the help of this, it generates a process plan. Remember, it is not necessary that same process plan for the same part should there. You have to retrieve. If it is not there, you have to retrieve the similar process plan. Okay. So that is what is your retrieval process plan. Okay, so again, the weightage for this is 5 marks. This also I have uploaded, hmm, in the classroom. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll meet tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you please ask. Otherwise, we can leave.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Chira, you want
सर
to say
सिलेब
something?
यूटी टू का सिलेबस क्या है सर?
Sorry.
सर व्हाट्स द सिलेबस फॉर यूटी टू?
That I will pass it to Niraj.
नीरज.
All right,
ओके ओके सर.
by today evening.
ओके सर. थैंक यू.
Okay. Anything else?
नो सर.
Okay.